Someone called me this week. They were in a taxi in an Uber, and there was a Yozel hanging from the the mirror in the front.
Yeah, that's very good.
So, yeah. And the person's question was, are they allowed to daven? They were in the middle of davening, and they asked if they're allowed to daven. It goes back to really something that we do. It's funny. I said, "Wow, it's a shiloh to do with this week's parsha," because it says by the end of Makkah's Borod that Pari is begging Moshe Rabbeinu to daven, and Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Kitzeitzi es a when I'll go out of the city, I'm gonna after his kappa, I'll daven to the Eibushter." So Rashi says he brings from the Masilta he couldn't daven in the city. Why? Because the city was full of Avodah Zorah, and there's a Shalos Chuvas of the Trumas Adeshin. Trumas Adeshin is considered the first of the Acharonim. The Alter Rebbe calls him the Gedoyle Acharonim. He lived about close to 500 years ago in Maribor, in Slovakia. He brings him all the time in Shulchan Aruch, and the first one that mentioned, then it's brought in Shulchan Aruch. So the Trumas Hadeshin says that a person was on the road, and he's going to come to the city. It's full of goyim. He's going to stay in a hotel, and the city and the hotel is full of Avodah Zorah. On the other hand, daven on the road is also not a big yikus, because Chazal say you shouldn't daven in an open space. The Chazal says in the beginning of Brachas, one of Me'iroim, he didn't want to be disturbed. He went into a churba. Okay, so we had a problem with going into a churba, but we see that that the davening on the road is not a good thing. So
This question, he was davening in the car.
this person's davening in the car, yeah, and is hanging. The Shesi Ve'ediv is hanging.
Davening while he was seated.
Yeah, yeah. So so they weren't davening yet. They wanted. That was the plan. The plan was they're gonna daven in the car. But now they saw in front of their face is hanging a yozel. Okay, so Trumas Hadeshin really the question is how you learn the Trumas Hadeshin. He says, if you could find a quiet room in the hotel where there's no avodah zarah there, better and it'll be quiet, daven in the hotel. Otherwise, daven in on the road. The shaila is, how seriously did he take? In other words, this medrash, is it taka real isur or not an isur? Let's read. I'm just jumping straight to the second piece. By the way, there's also a Gemara he brings. The Gemara says that Rabbi Yeshua went to a Matranissa and he took off his film before he went into the Matranissa, and he said because there was an Avodah Zorah in her palace, so that's why I didn't want to walk in with film. The Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. I'm skipping the first piece. The first piece is the Trumas Hadeshin. The Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch mit Tzadik Daled Zeviyud. Misha Baba Derech V'Somach L'Malam Shal Goyim. V'im Yochel Estalach V'na Derech L'Spal B'Umed B'Mokim שקורב הדובר לגמרי שלא יפסקו שם אוי בדרכים מוטב שיסתלק ויספל שם מי שספל בבייס הגוי שבוודא יש בו גילולים ותאבס ואין להכלס שם דבר שבקדושה. If you can go on the side of the road and you know for sure that no one's going to disturb you middle of your davening, no one's going to bump into you, better to go on the side of the road and daven there than davening in the house of a goy which has four avodah zarah in there. Because that we find that Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Shalom said, "Ketzeisi asayir v'loyrotz espal b'krak shel mitzrayim l'fisher in malay l'kilulim." Avalim yev shel istalak min aderech ha'makom shlef sekui espal b'molon be'eze hu keren zovis, that he should daven in the molon in a keren zovis shelo yeval v'lo b'nei b'ayis, and that the people in the molon should not disturb him. Vein lochush. Don't be worried about Avodah Zorah. Should they call tefillah saying about Yoretz Maleilas Avodah Zorah? V'im efshel l'spalak min haderech, if he can't go off the derech, tzarech l'spal mahalach and Yusha v'gam b'molon. V'im kenen zove shalal v'lu muter l'spal b'derech mahalach and Yusha kivin shaz yochel l'chaven yoyse. Komo kem yochel l'spal b'molon b'bikoy b'chotzar begina. If he can go and daven in the molon. Yeah, on the Mullen's property. So that is mutav. Yetze the shneim l'spal umer de bekavona. The zach is that the last. If you look at the last line of Trumas Hadeshin, he writes, "Ke idna kol tfilas kalono him bayoretz amalayis te'eves lulim Anyway, in our cities, there is full of Avodah Zorah. It seems that it didn't take the Mechilta, the daven in a city, which is all the cities today, and all the country of the Notzim are full of. I want to show you a beautiful tshuva. You have a copy of that tshuva from the Yid that his name was Leva Ivri. He was Talmid of the Chassam Sofer. He was a firebrand, like from the yeah, from the sort of the old Mayastim of sort of the what we'd call today the Eda Charedis in Yerushalayim. Even though his name of his sefer is Leva Ivri, but you have to understand when he named the sefer Leva Ivri, there was no one used that terminology yet, so he was like out of luck that Mr. Ben Yehuda Vekadile decided to use the name of his sefer. Yeah, Ivrit. They decided to become. I just Mazbazain. We had here a Mispalo that was a direct descendant of him. His mother was an anical from the Leva Ivri. He was mama. She was on fire. He was like annoyed, and they never liked a lot of his toitus. He's like, "I'm Moiridik Hanoi in Yerushalayim," and he lived a little before the Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld. He passed away, maybe we'd say 80 years ago, more. And his descendant is Rabruk. So if you want to know why the Brooks are like, firebrand. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Akiva Yosef Schlesinger, he came from Hungary to Yerushalayim, and he given a große Mach and a große Tour, and a very ehrlich Yid, and he was a Moiridik Kanoi. And his kano, it's a lot that's Adayim is going back to like the Bemis, the Kehila Charedis of Yerushalayim. A lot of it goes back to Harav Akiva Yosef Schlesinger. So this child, he was given a Moiridik Katamat Kochim also, and he wrote Chadoshos of Chuvas. So I found a beautiful two Chuvas from him, and it was nicely reprinted recently. So I'd like to read it inside. To daven in a place where there is a cross. That's not called a tzelem. That's only if you know that the guy didn't bow to that. I'm big Gemara, but Toys bechul nach Gimel den Goyim shebe chutzlar it's enlem din Avodah Zorah. But not Kamais have the same DNA. All early Christians, they mamish they absurd Avodah Zorah.
Well, you're saying that if you didn't bow down,
if the goy didn't bow to it,
then it's not
that you don't. It's not considered Avodah Zorah. That's what he said. He didn't activate it. Yes, exactly. He didn't activate it. It's very good. Agdora. So, and on top of that, so number one is the shach that says that as long as the goy didn't bow to it, like you just said, he didn't activate it. Number two is that there's a kula that goyim shemachutzlon is a stam gereis amaratzim.
But it's funny what you're saying, because every church they put it down, you have to go down to bend.
Okay.
When I was
That's
in
when
the army, we went to a church.
The Chadrechmon Latzlan, then they
They
bowing.
want you to bend dafka.
Right.
Wow.
Imki dinim kitsoya, even though the komak efshel ism chazal amagen avram, or rechaim siman tzadik sef kotel hamet zayin, dim yesh lefon tzulis. Letzalakos on the mile makom esadam shelispal kenegdem. If to pick it up higher, if it's high on the wall, you could be daven. Even the dinim kitsoya v'yesh b'm ruach ra leka ad asora. As long as it's on the wall higher than it's out of tvachim. Amru b'yalkut te'ilim b'chavbeis. Even shkim Esther lebeis atzlomim mistalkim imene shchina v'amru Eli lama zavtoni. So he says a diuk from this medrash. Mekomokem b'chol ze mahani atfila. We see that the shchina taka left her, but she davened and the tefillah helped. Valanusum shemachrachim lechroi lefnei moiram b'chol ze ispaldo mishem Hashem aroyas tzorosa mishia mavdol mekaydish lefnei. No. He's talking about Esther. The Medrash says this is a mess that when she went to the king, she came to a place where she felt the Shechina left her. Why? Because there was a tzelem there. There was an Avodah Zorah there. So that's when she said, she says, you see that she's still davened. He says, "V'doidi the Binyamin Zev nitachsen bebeis koimer godel." I have an uncle that in Hungary he was an askin, and he was once staying in the house of a koimer. He slept there for a few nights. So a night, nosel mashorsa shel a koimer moment shiyotza gilul mechedre asher mispalel v'yoshen shon. The kesef metar ain't done an efshe be efshe. He's saying it's not so much alumnus here. He's saying Lamaisa. He says my uncle davened in a house of a koimer. Lamai he paid shoichat to the shmeshoras to take out the tzelem from his bedroom, so that he slept there and he davened there in his room, and he felt that was kosher. Money talks. So it's like kesef metaher. Exactly. Okay, so Lagabi, before I wrap up to our Shaila, very interesting. Next Shaila was just very interesting. He says there was a Choshevedov that wrote to him a Shaila. That someone got an honor from the king. So he got a chain, like the king would, like knight someone. So that king would give a chain, and the chain was hanging on the chain. Bazen nivgam kvoid amuna shaloi neged kovet shemaim yefshli lekabel velov toides lachashavutz shamalach omna miza melech hakovet. I'm sure that's why I told you before. This guy was a firebrand. The Sirov must have been terrified to do such a thing. He told the Sirov that he feels that it's also for him to accept it. He should write a letter to the king saying Harei Kilu is kabalti. You know the lomdus that when you give someone a gift, you tell him it's as if I get it. It's as if it's a goyish cup, and he might not understand. He might not get it, but we should tell him that, listen, I'm a Jew, and it's forbidden for me to take it from you. And the Melech will understand. Okay. He says, that Rav told me, Veli needed the osu. So that's it's a shaila. It's you look in the bottom. The shaila meishiv
on the honor it has
a cross. So it's a shaila. It's a shaila. The shaila meishiv is a little makel. Others are makel, and he holds l'chumra. And his lomdus is like this. He says all this thing to say that a tzelem that a goy to bow it's for a goy, but for a yid that's his chidush. That's his chiddush. That there's all these kulas are for a goy, but for a yid to accept it, it's forbidden. That's his chiddush. That for a yid it's forbidden.
He's being machmir.
Yeah. He's being machmir. He says for a yid it's forbidden. That's his chumrah. But then he says ve'eshivli aravanal ke'echad magdolim hiterloi lakabli v'li the osur. He says that my opinion is that it's absolutely awesome. That it's absolutely awesome. He thinks it's awesome. Yeah, read a little weiter. Those days when the king would come, there's pictures. There's pictures from Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld going out to make the brocha, and he's holding the Sefer Torah in front of the king.
the Austrian or the
Franz Yosef, Franz Joseph. So there is a minhag that he would go out to the king with the Sefer Torah and a chuppah. And now that this had already accepted this chain, we had no choice. He had to show up. He says, and the Rav felt compelled to wear the chain with the cross while he's holding the Torah. Because died. Huh?
Was Sonnenfeld?
No, Chas v'Shalom. He doesn't tell you the name of the Rav. It's not. It's Lashon Hara. He's not going to tell you the name. Then he says the worst was v'shuvka shenifter Rav Zeh v'bos sorei hamaluch al alavaya v'nos al aron oisoi tzel of shesi ve'erev uve'ez eponim hoyabol amayla. He said Nebuch. What happened was that there was the government officials. They thought they're doing a favor to the Rav. So when it was his levaya and he was a choshev Rav, and there was people from the government that came, and they took this chain that the king had given him with the Shesiv Yerev, and they put it on his on his Aron, Yeah, and the Jews couldn't do anything about it. They're going to take it away. The king gave it to Chulu. So he was buried kacha. This is the way he was buried. So,
Afterwards, take it out.
That's the
so
ultimate.
he says,
There's nothing inherently wrong with the cross. It's just a connotation that it has to Christianity.
he
Now,
says-
let's say, like, they have a military honor, a military medal, they give, which is a cross, which has no religious significance at all. It's just a military honor.
okay, so he's okay. Look,
That
there's a
was-
Sherlameshim that holds you. There's others that hold that you.
That was the reason why Lord, what's his name, Rabbi Sachs went to the coronation in the church and he said it's not really a service, but it wasn't sufficient.
Okay, so I want to bring it back to our Shaila, wrap it up. I like this. If a person's sitting in the taxi to daven, to say it's not check to put it l'mayla masora, and to say that you're going to cover your face, it's only if you cover the Avodah Zorah. Covering your face isn't, I don't know if it's meaningful. So I would say if a person's sitting in a place where it's not in front of the Avodah Zorah, it could be makel because there's only a tzura l'noi, it's not an Avodah Zorah, and and it's only a chumrah to try to daven in a place where. But if a person's mukhrich to daven, then they could daven. But if they could wait and not daven in the car because the schedule is such that they could daven not, then I would say that they should not daven in that car. They should not daven in the car and daven later in the day. But I think that this whole thing is only lagabe tefillah, not lagabe Torah. Because we see from Moshe Rabbeinu that there was only lagabe the inyan of lagabe tefillah, lagabe Torah. We don't find it. We don't find it lagabe Torah.
But you could learn Torah.
That you could learn we could say the lamdas of Shem. Tefillah Samevish, and here there's an Avodah Zorah, which is a stira to tefillah. And Torah you could say Zayin Makabel Tum Advoreke Eish. I would say in L'chayel B'chidush, and that's what I told the person. I said if you could daven later, better not to daven in the car. If you must, then tack it, go to the side, and don't sit in front of the Shesi V'edav.
This $30 is not.
The person that asked, I didn't think had the koyak to do it. But if a person needs to daven, you can tell a person, it's my religion. I'll give you an extra tip. Could you please take it? Listen, what's going to happen? The guy's ein broiges. It's ein broiges. The guy's ein broiges. Okay.
So, what's with the hospitals, like in Muncie, the hospital for Good Samaritan? It's completely
Full
charged out. It's like
in every room.
Let's say you could find a room that doesn't have it. The building considered, even though it's a hospital.
It's only a chumrah. It seems like it's a chumrah be'alma, but say it is a chumrah be'alma. I'm just saying that it seems libi yoimeli to daven mamash in front of Avodah Zorah is
So
also.
I understand the question of Ruba. I'm saying if let's say you find a big room in the Good Samaritan, I
Then
think it's a problem if the whole place is crossed out, but the room doesn't have it.
as a chumrah, yeah. Yeah, as a chumrah, yeah. As a chumrah.
Right, I get it.
As a chumrah,
If you
but
can
not
get out,
as a chumrah, yeah. But if a person's schedule is always a mitzvah, and now he has the 20 minutes. I can lachap the talis and film daven,
right.
and this is mamash what the Alter Rebbe says that if you can find a room or a corner in the place where there's no Avodah Zorah, is a ladaven yemot. But Eba Volge can, if ein of beroife, you can schedule out this day. Yeah, better not to daven in that building.
What about a chapel? Like there are places, hospitals that have
That they have a
little
Yiddish-
chapels. They don't have any.
Oh.
What is our?
So then it's the same thing. Then it's no Avodah Zorah. Okay.
So in the car series,
I would say better not to daven, but if they have no choice, they should move to the side. Yes,
moves inside and
Yeah.
they're not facing it.
not facing.
towards-
It. Yes, because then he's bowing towards it. Say moedim, whatever. Okay. It's there's a simcha in the family, Sheva brachas. So it's if you didn't get a chance to come to simcha, now it's a chelik of the simcha. We'll talk about the Indian of Panim Chadoshos.
Oh.
Everyone is always heavy Sheva brachas. Oh, Panim Chadoshos, schlepper and Panim Chadoshos. The Gemara says in Ksuvas Daf Zayin that there is a thing of saying Sheva brachas all the 7 days. But it has to be, Rabbi Yehuda said, Hushi Panim Chadoshos. It has to be a Panim Chadoshos. So there's a lot of misconception about the Panim Chadoshos. So I just want to summarize a little bit of the Lumdus and a little bit of the Lamaisa. Seems to me there's a machloikas Rishonim. What does it mean upon Chadoshos? The Rambam says that if someone was already there by the brachas of the chuppah, then you can't say you have to have a Panim Chadoshos. It seems, according to the Rambam, based on the Forsha Rambam, that even by the meal of the chasana, you need to have a Panim Chadoshos, because if it's the same people who are there by the chuppah as the meal, so it seems in the Rambam that the Panim Chadoshos means what's the poiveya is the brachas. The Bale Toisvis and the Rosh and the Rebbeinu Tam, they say no, it has to do with the meal. If the person was there at the meal, if the person sat there at the meal, so then Nishnagay, the main thing is the meal. Okay, that's one. And it seems that we paskin like the Bale Toisvis. Then there's another question. Gemara says Panim Chadoshos. So the Toisvis says that Panim Chadoshos doesn't just mean a new guy, you call him in from the street. It has to be a person that Rebbeinu Tam says that someone who is extremely choshev, that is, and you would cook and you would make a special meal for this person. It's a very, very choshev person. That's what the Rebbeinu Tam says. The words of the Rebbeinu Tam, Ori Odem choshev shukoved achosen v'derech laharbez b'shvilom avlina shaklina loy. It doesn't seem like Shulchan Aruch Paskins Gamri like the Rebbeinu Tam. Even though the Rosh brings it, Shulchan Aruch brings it, and we'll read the Shulchan Aruch in a second. The Shulchan Aruch says, "Ein nikra panim chadoshos elim ke marbim b'shvilo." Seems to me that the Shulchan Aruch doesn't hold the Gamri like the Rebbeinu Tam. As long as it's someone that they would add a little bit something. It's very hard to say because when you need a tenth or you need a panim chadoshos, you go outside. And you've chap a yid, and you bring him in.
Every Yid is choshev.
Oh, see, every yid is choshev.
And his function is inherently chashuv.
I have something to say. There is the Tosfos says that Shabbos you don't need to have a panim chadoshos. There's a whole discussion because the two that brings the old minig was that after Shabbos they would walk the chos into the house and they'd make sheva brachos. They had a problem with that because the people didn't eat; they would just go to the house of the chos and make sheva brachos. I think it's poshut because that minhag was based on the shit of the Rambam and those Rishonim that felt that it's not to do so much with the Suda. The Baruch had to do with the Chosn. They didn't care about the Suda so much. But we do care about the Suda. We say it's to do with the Suda. And that's why the Rishonim hold it's to do with Suda. They see Panim Chadoshos as, not Stam, a person that walked in. That this is the type of person that you would be marbe the Suda b'shviloi. So the Tosfos says that Shabbos itself is a Panim Chadoshos. Why? It is a Medish, Mishma Shil Shabbos, that Kiva Shabbat
The Shabbos Malka
is a Panim Chadoshos.
Interesting.
Now, I didn't get a chance. I really had him Bedas. I had Bedas because I wanted to say something at Torah for the Shabbat, but I didn't get a chance to look. I'm telling you, Lina, I'll give a look and I'll find it. The story in Svarim HaKadoshim is brought about certain tzaddikim that they grew an inch l'kovet Shabbos. Oh, the Be'er Ma'im Chaim, and there's another tzaddik. How did you know? The Be'er Ma'im Chaim, and there's also another tzaddik. And they said about the Alter Rebbe, the Biyoim, that he was Makabel the Nasias, he became a whole head taller, and Kach Nisha his whole life.
Wasn't it the Rishon?
I don't know, I think it was a Rishon. The Be'er Ma'im Chaim and someone else. And it's brought in the Sforim HaKadoshim a whole hezber. But the bottom line is that Shabbos, they grew taller. Shabbos,
the covet Shabbos.
The covet Shabbos.
And then they shrunk?
Yeah, Matzah Shabbos by Malama Malka, they shrunk. And the Mittler Rebbe said that if you take the pulse of a Jew on Shabbos, that you're going to find that it races quicker. That's what the Mittler Rebbe says. The pulse of a Jew goes quicker in Shabbos. That's what the Mittler Rebbe says.
That's more physiological.
So, no, that's what he says. He's more anxious. He's the Rabbanu Shalom.
You should go for that X-ray.
So, yeah, you should go Shabbos and test everyone.
Yeah.
Test them on Friday.
They could use it.
I'm just
Apples to apples. You have to test the person on Friday. Go and take a whole opinion of Eden, test them on Friday, test them on Shabbos, and see. So that's what the Mittler Rebbe says. So the Medrash says that a Yid on Shabbos is a Panim Chadoshos. Every Yid, he's a new person. I'm a new person on Shabbos. Okay, so here's my cute little Torah. It's not a cute little Torah. It's a mem. It's a shakvataya in my mind. What happens? Yom Tov, the Shulchan Aruch says also like Shabbos. But what happens? So the Pischei Tshuva says 3 words. Tzorechiyum ma'adim bepurim. Bepurim tzorechiyum. That's 2 words. Bepurim tzorechiyum. That's what Pischei Tshuva says. Tzorechiyum. What's the din lagabe purim? So what's a shaila? What's a shaila? So I would say his shaila is the chicken and the egg. Which comes first? When we say there's a Panim Chadoshos, and you're adding food for him. Is the pshat? Is the pshat is like this? What's the cause and what's the effect? It's a new face. It's exciting. How am I going to prove to you that he's an exciting guy? If you would walk into the kitchen and put a few more knishes in the oven, he's a choshev person. That's how I know that he's a choshev person to you. Are you going to put in an extra potato knish in the oven for him? You're going to get some extra chopped liver for him? Then he's choshev. Don't tell me he's choshev. Okay, like they say in Yiddish, there's no charge to promise and to say someone I love you. Let me see if you're going to put some extra knishes in the oven. It's one way of learning it. The other way of learning it is no. That if it's a choshev person, then you're going to bring out another tray of food that adds simcha. And that's what Chazal said. When there's an added simcha, you say again the Sheva brachas. So I would say that maybe is even the machloikas of the Rosh and the Rabbeinu Tam. The Rabbeinu Tam holds, no, it's the main thing is that person is a very choshev person. So it has to be a very high level of chidus. And the Rosh says, as long as you're going to add some food, so that's good enough. It adds simcha. Oh, excitement. Someone else came in. You brought in a few more knishes to the table. So it adds. I would say that's the shaila, the tzarachin, and the Pischei Tshuva, the Gabi Purim. The Shulchan Paskins Lakula, that as long as you're adding some food. But the Shulchan Aruch doesn't say clearly Lagabe Purim. The Pischei Tshuva says, what's the din Purim? I would say the shaila is like this. On the one hand, Shabbos v'Yom Tov is also b'malacha, and a Jew grows taller. His pulse is, but if you take the pulse of a Yidam Purim and a Chanukah, and on Yutas Kislev, and all these days Yom She'eino Tachnu, Lav Dafka. It's not also b'malacha, and it's a different type of day. Lav Dafka. The Kedushas Hayom of Purim and Chanukah, not because it's the Rabbanon, because the Rabbanon could also have the right, but just because it's not also the Malach. It's muted the Malach. So Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golis is the Rabbanon, and I'm not talking about that. Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golis is Yom Tov. But here the Chachamim decided that they're going to make it muted the Malach. So one way you could say, if you're looking, basically what I'm saying is, if you're looking at the Kedusha of the day, you could say, listen, Purim Chanukah is less than Yom Tov. But if you're looking at the Indian that we're marbe b'seuda, oh come on, Purim, we're marbe b'seuda, we're unbelievable marbe b'seuda. So there's no shaila. So I would say it's tall in that, and therefore I would say lakula. I would say that you could, if I'm right, that the Shulchan Aruch was not so makpid that you have to mamish be the most kosher person in the world. You're just going to bring a little extra food; it'll be good enough. So I would say Purim is also good enough that you can make Sheva brachas without having a Panim Chadoshos. That's a shaila from bracha. But I would say it seems the true demis of Shulchan Aruch says that if you have if there's a suffix, you should siv a drasha, and the drasha itself is a Panim Chadoshos. The drasha itself, Chaim Miller, the Batson, has a beautiful word about drashas. The truth is he doesn't know. The din Shulchan Aruch is that if you have a suffix, you say a drasha. And Lanius Daiti, the reason why there's a minute to say Divrei Torah by Sheva brachas, obviously when you didn't get together, you want to say Sheva, you want to say Divrei Torah, but there's a reason for it, and similar to Bar Mitzvah drasha. Which sometimes you have a suffix if it's really Panim Chadoshos. Lanius Daiti, I think it's Dava Pasha. The reason why it became a minute to say Divrei Torah by the Sheva brachas is because there is an opinion, we don't call a gamri like that the drasha itself makes a Panim Chadoshos. Ayidlan and Torah vet Panim Chadoshos. There was a story about Rabbi Gerari, Zalman Gerari. He once said there is something from Rabbi Yehuda Chosid that once you left your house to travel, you shouldn't go back home. And his flight was canceled. It was for another 6 hours later, years ago. It took years ago, and he was choshid So he was choshid should go back home. And talking years and years, he picked up the phone from the airport and he called the Rebbe's secretary. The Rebbe said he should learn a Perek Tanya. Then he's going to be a new person. He's going to be a new person. He can go home. It's a different person. He should learn a Perek Tanya.
I heard that.
So Hochanami, there is a shitta that you say a drasha by the Sheva Brach that makes a Panim Chadoshos. And I think that's the reason. But Chaim Miller says there's a different reason. He says because just like you break glass in the chuppah, lo yelash elas yishalayim aresim chassid, that you have to have a little bit of pain to feel the pain of the Churban Beis Hamikdash. So someone guy gets up and gives a drasha, gives everyone scratches their ear. So they have the pain of the Churban. So if you Reb Chaim Miller, why do we need 7 drashas? We could have 1 drasha. Said that Reb Chaim Miller because the person who gives a drasha enjoys it.
What's the
One second. I just to add to this one little thing is that today the last Sheva brachas of my son-in-law is going to be a new Shvat. So Lubavitcher Chosid might ask, new Shvat, 75 years that of his leadership, you need a Panim Chadoshos, you don't need a Panim Chadoshos. So I'll say that the answer is that depends. There's a Fabrengen that I always like to talk about in Tavshin Chavov, and the Rebbe said. The question is, after a Yom Tiv, Yud Beis Tammuz, are you the same person or you're not the same person? If you're a new person, there's a Fabrengen, there's a new Yisraelis, so then, it was worthwhile the Fabrengen. So I would say that the answer for a Chosid should be that if you feel that tomorrow after Yud Shvat, you're a new person, Avodah Hashem is on a better level, okay, so you're the Panim Chadoshos. So it's a Yom Tiv for you. And you're making a Fabrengen, and the Fabrengen is part. It's not Stama Sheva brachas. You added a lot of simcha to it because it's a Fabrengen covered Yud Shvat. Okay, so then you could that itself could be counted as a Panim Chadoshos. Jokes aside, Mitzvah Hashem, at Yud Shvat Wednesday we're going to have here a Fabrengen and Abosi, a covered Yud Shvat. Okay, l'chaim, you should have a wonderful week.
I'm able to often.
Because it's already after Shkia, so it's.
Getting the.
Sorry, I couldn't make it. Bad weather.
Miss the Sheva brachas of the chuppah than anyone else is a Panim Chadoshos? Or I didn't hear correctly?
No, the Rambam says the main thing is if you were there by the Sheva
So,
brachas of
let's see.
the Kuppah. But the Shulchan Aruch Chaskin, no, it main to do with the Suda. If he was
It was a
there by
great
the
week, everybody
Suda.
say. So, son, everybody.
Yeah. The main thing is by the Suda.
Thank you. Oh, hey, Rabbi, thank you. Have a good week.
Well, it's from the Gemara and Ksubas, Daf Zayin. What it says? Subas, yeah.